Greetings! In this video we're going to look at the theme from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony found on page 55 of the Christopher Parkening Classical Guitar Method Volume 1. I'll go ahead and play through the piece and then I'll provide some advice on how to tackle the technical challenges found in it. Technical, okay. I often see new students struggle over this piece. It requires not only a lot of reading, multiple notes at the same time, but it also requires some tricky little changes. So let's break down first the reading and then the changes. Remember to deconstruct. So I'm going to do the whole measure plus one beat. So the first measure, just the bottom line. And once that's stuck in my short-term memory and it's easy, just do the top line. Once that's easy, it's going to be a lot easier to put them together. Now this change, however, from D and F to C and G can really throw off a lot of people, especially with the fingering he suggests here. A D, F to C, G, but both of them I'm using pinky, index, index, pinky. So it's a sneaky little change. The best thing you can do is make sure your technique is actually not too light and not too firm. Too firm is going to make us really shaky and tense and our fingers going to want to miss, but too light isn't going to make us anchored enough. So we need a nice solid grip. We're going to relax and then try just doing one finger at a time. So now my pinky is just going to barely move. Try to find the smallest path it can take to that next note. And just let your right hand fingers touch the strings while you make that change. Get your pinky used to just at full speed being able to make that consistently. When you can get it consistently, let's do the other finger. I'm going to just release the pinky and do the index finger. Same thing, we want just a tiny path. Now I'm not turning my hand, I'm doing finger movements. So when these move, it's the fingers moving and not the hand. And the hand is going to be an anchor and it's going to be a stable point. And the fingers, think of them moving against each other. So pointer fingers should do just a really tiny path. It shouldn't go past and then back. It should just go straight to where it's needed. When you can do that, then you're going to practice doing both fingers. And you can just go back and forth. I'm going to play it. Place my right hand two fingers to mute the strings, do a tiny movement in the left hand. Play it. Place, move, pull. Place, move, pull. When I place, I relax those fingers. Place, relax. Place. Place, relax, move, pull. So that's the key to really conquering these tiny movements. If you can really get a nice, smooth, small movement without any extra little jerk or step going in there, it's going to become a lot easier to conquer those trickier changes. Compared to that, everything else should be a piece of cake. Now let's look at that third line. I like to cut those short, but you can do it either way. If it's people singing, it makes sense to have it ring out. I think it sounds more guitaristic, but it's okay. I would just mute that G when you come back up. What you can do is play with your thumb and index, and then place both, and then play with your thumb and a ring. That way it mutes the G and lets you get up to that E. And then here we just need to align in advance. So looking at that fourth line, the first measure, we have C, E, FD, and when we play FD, we want to align our pinky and our middle finger to be ready to grab this. If we do that, then it's going to already be where it's needed. But if we're trying to go, something like this and then find these notes, our accuracy is going to be pretty poor. And this bass line actually sounds really nice, especially as we have this repetition on the G. End of first measure of the fourth line. Make sure you play that bass line loud enough to be enjoyed. I encourage you to just watch out that you hang on to that G as this is happening in the bottom. We want that da, da, da to sound out nice and clear. We want the listener to hear that above what's happening in the bass. So those are the big things to watch out for, and that's my advice on how to practice it. It is a little tricky, but just take your time with it. Take it in chunks that you can manage. One measure at a time, or even just one change. And if you can't do the change in isolation, then don't try to do the whole measure, because that's not realistic, and you're just going to waste a lot of time. So start with the individual changes. If those are easy, then do the entire measure plus a beat into the next measure. If that gets easy, do 2 measures or the whole line. And once that's easy to do all of the whole lines, then you can do the entire piece. If you do that, that is the most efficient way that you can conquer this piece. I hope that this was helpful for you, and thank you for watching.